Wayne Scott with this afternoon's national anthem here at Bright House Field. A sold-out crowd, and it is absolutely packed out on the berm for this afternoon's game between the Phillies and the Baltimore Orioles. Joe Blanton and the Phils have taken the field. That's a look at the concourse area down the left field line here at Bright House Field, and there's a lot of people still wandering around there. Look at all the folks that are out at Frenchie's Tiki Bar, and I tell you, the amount of people extends all the way around the ballpark. So standing room only tickets have been sold, have all been sold this afternoon, and it's just turned out to be a nice day. It was cloudy and a little misty early on this morning, but now it's turned out to be a bright, sunshiny afternoon, and blue skies are well, they're going to pop up anytime now.
Temperature's going up about 10 degrees in an hour to an hour and a half. It's all the way up to 77 now. Yeah, it's nice. The berms are full out there in left center and right center, so people think they're going to get some sun, that's for sure.
Well, the starting lineup for this afternoon's ball game for the Orioles, brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop is Ryan Flaherty. Wilson Benavides is the third baseman today, followed by Nick Johnson and Matt Wieters. Chris Davis, the first baseman, will bat fifth. Jay Miller's in right field. He'll hit sixth. And in the bottom third of Joe Mahoney, Matt Antonelli, and Xavier Avery for the Baltimore Orioles. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Joe Blanton. Pitched very well in his first outing. He threw 2 innings in his opening outing, and now he's looking to extend it a little bit more. Wheels.
Well, you're right, Tom. He was really good his last time out. He opened up a lot of eyes, not only around the Phillies, but evidently from those guys that sit behind home plate with the stopwatches and radar guns from other teams. Were very impressed with him. So that's our scouting report on Joe. His fastball usually tops off at 90, 91, and he wants to keep up the good performance. There's something about a player when they feel healthy. You know, it's so different for them than when they're going out there and hurting and trying to make it up, as opposed to a guy who can go do what they're capable of doing at full strength.
All right, we showed you a shot earlier today with the little girl helping her dad with their sunscreen. Well, she finished with the left side. Now just go work on the right side a little bit. Wheels, you need all the help you can get.
Yeah, that's nice.
And earlier today, the United States Special Operations Command Unit, well, they came parachuting in. Brought down a Phillies banner, the American flag. Pretty cool for the fans here to enjoy.
There is a lot that goes on involving national security and planning and all at MacDill here.
Yeah.
In Tampa, and you said special ops. This is a big area for that stuff.
Well, Joe Blanton gets the game underway with a first pitch fastball to Ryan Flaherty for a strike, and it's 0-1. The Orioles 3-2-1 so far this spring, and they're taking a long look at Ryan Flaherty, and he rolls that one just past Freddie Galvis for a base hit. Flaherty, a former #1 pick for the Chicago Cubs, who the Orioles selected in the Major League version of the Rule 5 draft this past December. And Buck Showalter, the manager of the Orioles, going to take a long look at him as a possibly a middle infield utility guy, because they don't know what Brian Roberts' status is, and they know that Robert Andino most likely will have to play second base.
Yeah, that's a shame about Brian Roberts. He has really had a lot of concussion problems, post-concussion syndromes.
Right. Here's Wilson Benavides, signed to a 2-year free agent contract this offseason. Last year split time between the Royals and the Tigers. And this year he is listed as the team's designated hitter. They do not have Vladimir Guerrero anymore. 0-1 the count to Benavides. 1 for 10 this spring. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Joe Blanton last outing, 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 strikeout. He was talking to Greg Murphy, and he had one of the quotes of the day saying that time away made him appreciate the game a little bit more last year. Eric Cooper calling the balls and strikes this afternoon. Pretty much fastball changeup last time out, and I'm sure he'll try to mix in some of his other pitches.
Yeah, he said he threw a couple cutters, and I don't believe he threw any curveballs.
There's a cutter, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. That wasn't curveball, right, Wills?
It was in between.
Yes,
Sure was.
Kind of a slur.
Yeah. This is a time where he's really become effective with his changeup when he gets ahead of left-handed hitters and throws that thing down and away.
They tried to get it toward the outside part of the plate, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tuffy Go-Switch is doing the catching this afternoon. Carlos Ruiz caught yesterday. Phillies won against the Tigers. And Roy Halladay started that ball game, and Ruiz hit a 3-run home run. Line drive, base hit it to right field. No, Benavides stayed on that. Flaherty stays at second. And the Orioles have first and second with nobody out.
He teed this one up for Wilson Benavides. Looks like a fastball up, and he hit that thing right on the screws.
So 2 on, nobody out here in the top of the first. Nick Johnson, the hitter, now 33 years old. You want to talk about a guy that's been plagued with injuries during his career. That is Nick Johnson. Last played in the big leagues with the Yankees 2 years ago. And he hurt his wrist that season. And he hasn't been back since.
This guy was going to have a heck of a big league career. He could really hit and was a good enough first baseman. But those injuries, as you say, Tom, they have really set him back.
0-1 the count. Now 1 ball and 1 strike.
Everybody knows his mom is Larry Bowa's sister. Nick Johnson's a guy as a kid used to be hanging around the ball club. I can remember him as a little kid around the ball club in San Francisco, Candlestick Park, around Uncle Larry.
Well, and he could always hit, as you said, Wheels. And it was probably in 2006 when he had the broken leg when he played for the Washington Nationals. That was the most dreadful injury he's had. But he's had a lot of nagging injuries. Hand injuries, wrist injuries, leg injuries.
Just one thing after another. It seemed like every time Nick got it going a little bit, a team would take a chance on him. Not even a chance. If they signed him because they thought he could help, he would get hurt again.
Trying to make the Orioles as a non-roster invitee. And he hits that one back off the bar behind home plate. And it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now before the ball game today, Charlie Manuel and Terry Kirby. Terry played for Charlie in Cleveland. Boy, they were going at it not only before the game, right before the game, but before batting practice today. It was hysterical.
That's one of his favorites. When he starts telling stories, Terry Kirby's one of those guys. He really likes him.
I should say Wayne Kirby. Terry Kirby, yeah, football player, his brother. And Johnson is down on strikes.
That looked like a curveball. And a good one. Really fooled Nick Johnson. Yeah, Wayne Kirby. And he's a left-handed hitter, played with Charlie, or was on Charlie's club, as you said, at Cleveland, and he really likes that guy.
He was sneaking behind the backstop today, and I was standing behind with Sarge, and Sarge thought he was sneaking up behind him, but all of a sudden he came up and he just punched Charlie in the side. Matt Wieters rolls one to first. They get one at seconds as Rollins hangs on. So 1 pitch, and the second out is recorded.
That's a really aggressive play by Ty Wigginton there. He has the easy play at first base, second and third, 2 outs, and decides to go for the lead runner, which if you execute it, it's a good play, but a lot can go wrong because that runner's right into the throw, and you see how he had to thread the needle right there, and Jimmy does a great job staying on the bag.
Well, 2 outs, Wieters at first. And Ryan Flaherty over at third. Chris Davis the hitter. Davis is scheduled to be the everyday first baseman for the Orioles this year. Batting 5th today. 3 for 10 so far in the spring, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
These guys have some really good young players. That Wieters, just saw him, and Nick Markakis, Adam Jones.
Nolan Reimold, who was hit by a pitch yesterday.
Yeah, he got hit right in the face.
X-rays were negative. He just has a huge bruise on the side of his face.
It rattled a couple teeth too.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Davis here in the top of the first. So that was a high breaking ball, and Davis swung over it, it looked like. And It's 1-2.
Well, it probably looked like a melon coming up there to him, and he was ready to leave his feet and hit it over the fence in right center, and then they just missed it.
Rich Doobie looking at Joe Blanton this afternoon. We'll also see Scott Ellerton at some point today. Here's the 1-2.
Change up. That's a real good pitch for Joe Blanton, the left-handed hitters, when he's ahead of them especially. Because even if it's not a swing and a miss pitch, it's a rollover type to a left-handed hitter where they'll hit a weak ground ball the other way to the pull side. Another one.
Runner will go from first. There goes Wieters. The pitch tapped foul. And it remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Joe Blanton was pretty clean through the first 2 innings of the spring. Today he's thrown 20 pitches in this first inning. You know, it depends on his pitch count as far as he goes today. Rich Doobie always says with these second outings that he's not sure. He'll just feel as he goes along. Runner goes again. Good pitch. Down on strikes is Chris Davis, and Blanton works out of a jam. Couple strikeouts. He leaves 2. Middle of the first. Orioles nothing. Phillies coming up. By Xfinity, only from Comcast. Well, it's the normal guys at the top: Jimmy Rollins, Placido Polanco, and Shane Victorino. Jim Thome's the DH this afternoon once again. Hunter Pence is in right field. He'll bat 5th. Ty Wigginton's over at first base. He'll hit 6th. John Mayberry moves from first over to left field today. He'll bat 7th. Freddie Galvis moves over to second base for the second time this spring. And then Tuffy Ghostwich bats 9th. And they will face left-hander Brian Mattis, a 25-year-old who had a horrific year last year. Former 4th-round pick, making his second start of the spring.
This guy was a good-looking pitcher a couple years ago. It's hard to believe he could have that bad a season. He's only had the 1 outing this spring. You know, you just throw those stats out the window. In spring training, you just see how the guy's throwing. But we saw him here a few years ago in a night game here, and he was really good. Threw a lot of sinkers, change-ups. And I don't know, the Phillies had, I think, 1 hit off him, and he pitched like 6-7 innings in that game. There's the scouting report on him, and that might be a little high on his fastball right now from where he used to be. And as Tom said, a 4th overall pick.
Last year, his earned run average was 10.69. It was the highest in baseball history for a guy with at least 10 starts. It surpassed the previous high, which Roy Halladay had back in 2000.
That's got him sent to the minors.
Jimmy Rollins leads it off, and Rollins with the count 0-1 lifts it to center field, and that'll drop in front of Avery. Rollins with his 3rd hit of the spring. And the Phillies have the leadoff batter aboard. Rollins has 2 stolen bases this spring.
Remember Mattis, last time we saw him was he pitched away almost exclusively. He didn't pitch inside a whole lot. So see whether or not he's still that kind of pitcher.
Well, they're just hoping that they have some semblance of the guy who won 10 games 2 years ago and was 6-0 in the last 8 starts for the Orioles. As Polanco takes strike one, it's 0-1.
The way he's working right now, it's early, but everything's away, and that's a great pitch for Polanco to try and shoot a ball through on the right side.
Right side is wide open as Rollins is being held on by Chris Davis, and Matt Antonelli is shaded toward the middle. The 0-1 chopped foul. It's no balls and 2 strikes.
I came inside that time. It looked like a little cutter.
Rollins left on contact. That ball gets away from Wieters, far enough for Jimmy to advance. Boy, he has a great arm, and he gets Jimmy by a step or 2. He has a really strong arm. He won the Gold Glove last year behind the plate, and that ball got away far enough for most guys to advance.
Yeah, well, most catchers had to take about 6 steps to get to it. He took 2 and then gunned him down. He's so tall that he didn't. Normally you see a ball bounce that far away. Most catchers are short. It's going to take him a while to get to it. Look how fast he got to that thing.
Yeah, 6'5" is Matt Wieters. So Rollins is thrown out, and Polanco out in front, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Polanco is 3 for 5 this spring. He's played in just 2 games before this. He's going to try to walk that off a little bit. I don't know if it hurts more when it's cold or warm. I just know it hurts.
Depends on how much bone it hits.
Chopper to shortstop. Flaherty throws him out. 2 outs. So 2 away here in the bottom of the first. Shane Victorino's the hitter.
Kind of the same wind pattern we've had for about a week down here. That means it's going to blow out a little bit towards left and left center. It's not, you know, a real windy day, but there you see the flags. The right-handed hitters or anybody hits the ball that way will get help.
Victorino takes a fastball up high, 1-0. Victorino is 3 for 13 this spring. A home run, 4 runs batted in. And he was out in front of that offering. Wieters off with the mask, might have a play. He does. And Mattis works around that leadoff hit by Jimmy Rollins. We go to the second here at Bright House Field. Phillies nothing, Orioles nothing. Meetings between these 2 teams this year. Phillies will face the Orioles in the regular season. Jay Miller leads it off for the O's. 27-year-old who the Orioles picked up from the Oakland A's organization. He had a great year last year at AAA. 32 home runs, 88 runs batted in. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Joe Blanton threw 21 pitches in the first inning. Allowed a couple base runners. The ball's ripped to left field, a base hit. John Mayberry gets to it quickly, so Miller is aboard. So 3rd hit for the Orioles so far. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Major League Baseball lost a really great one yesterday with the passing of former umpire Harry Wendelstedt. Of course, Wendelstedt, 73 years old, spent 33 years in the big leagues. He called 5 World Series, 10 playoff series. He also saw 5 no-hitters. And I'm interested to get Wheel's thoughts on this. The great Tommy Lasorda said Wendelstedt deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, perhaps. That would be a first. What do you think, guys?
Well, in my opinion, Tommy's got a great point. Murph, Harry Wendelstedt was a solid guy. You know, you really had to get yourself thrown out of a game with Harry. The game was not about him. He was very, very good behind the plate. You know, he was a mentor to a lot of other umpires. Ironically, the game that so many of us remember, the Black Friday game that we talk about all the time with the Dodgers, when Bert Hooton couldn't throw a strike and they were waving the handkerchiefs and all. But Harry Wendelstedt had the plate that day. I remember that when we were talking about it this morning. And he got caught up in a little bit that day because Hooton threw a couple right down the middle. You can see Hooton going, "Where was that pitch?" But that was quite a day. But Harry Wendelstedt, I knew him and respected him a lot. I think, and everybody did in Major League Baseball. Good man.
Joe Mahoney's the hitter. The count is no balls and 2 strikes. And he hits one back off Blanton. Galvis has it. Flips low to Rollins. He handles it. And the double play. 1-4-6-3.
Kick save.
Kick save and a beaut.
Harry's son Hunter is a major league umpire right now, and they operate an umpire school in the state of Florida that's been well respected for a lot of years.
Yeah,
so.
not most, but a lot of professional umpires go through the Harry Wendelstedt School of Umpiring before they get to the professional ranks.
Harry was always one of those guys, Tom, in my opinion, when you saw him come out there, he had command of the game, he had presence, and it was never about him.
Matt Antonelli is the batter, and he takes a strike, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Well, he had been battling brain cancer for 10 years.
Wow.
And as Murph said, 73 years old.
Well, he always seemed like one of those umpires, and the players would tell you this, that you could talk to him. But you know, you get to a certain point and he'd basically tell you that's enough, and if you go past it, then you got yourself thrown out of the game.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Matt Antonelli. A changeup swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. Blanton's allowed 3 hits in this outing, but he's not allowed to run. Joe trying to make his way back into the Phillies rotation. He started the year with the Phillies in their rotation, pitched in 6 ball games, but had a nerve injury in his elbow, as they found out. He had been seen by a handful of different doctors, including Dr. James Andrews, and they shut him down for a long while. And a lot of people were surprised when he pitched well enough to make it onto the postseason roster, but his velocity was really good.
Yeah, there was some thought during the season that the way it was going, maybe he was going to be a Tommy John candidate, Tommy John surgery candidate, and thankfully that didn't happen.
He's in the final year of a 3-year contract with the Phillies. So obviously he wants to pitch well because he wants to be part of all the great things that have happened in Philadelphia, which he, really wasn't last year. 3-2 pitch. Down low, ball 4.
3-2 off speed there. He shook off Tuffy ghost switch. I'm not sure what he put down first time, but he put some, looked like changeup down maybe. Here's a double play when we're talking about the loss of Harry Wendelstedt. You'll see it looked like it's up the middle, and then it kicks off Joe's leg right to Freddie Galvis. Nice play, and gave Jimmy Rollins a strong flip there. Jimmy got out of the way, and I thought he was safe at first, but looks like he was out.
Here's Xavier Avery, and he hits one through the hole on the right side. So another hit for the Orioles. Their second one of the inning, fourth one overall. And they have runners on first and second with 2 outs. See how fast Avery got up the first base line?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
22-year-old, former second-round pick.
And that was one that really stood out.
It really did.
Down the line.
You know, last year during spring training, when Pete Orr used to run up the line, it maybe wasn't as fast as Avery, but that stood out. You know, when guys have that extra burst. Ryan Flaherty, a big swing.
And isn't it amazing that how long ago this game was created, and they put the bases at 90 feet, and no matter the athleticism now or what it was then, you still, if you hit a routine ground ball, you're out at first. It may not be by a lot, but you're out, and it's never ceased to fascinate me how that happens. How could they have figured that out? Whoever they are.
How could they not have put it at 45 feet or at 50 feet?
Well, every other sport changes because of the athleticism. You know, how all of a sudden aren't these guys faster that they can outrun a routine ground ball? Some of them.
A good point.
But you can't. Now, if it's hit left or right, it's different. But if it's a routine ground ball, the fastest guy won't beat it out.
0-2 the count to Flaherty. Grounder right side. Galvi's got a good jump, scoops it up. He has great hands, and Blanton leads 2 for the second straight inning. On to the bottom of the second here in Clearwater. Prior to the game, and all fans will receive the Expedex 2012 schedule magnet. Go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets today, and don't forget Saturday the 14th is Turkey Hill Kids Opening Day. Scoreless game, bottom of the second. Jim Thome still gets some of the loudest applause that you'll hear. Will lead off against left-hander Brian Mattis. Thome 3 for 10 this spring, and the Phillies are targeting early this week is his return to playing first base. I'm intrigued by it, Wheels, to see how he does.
I agree. See how he holds up. You know, how he plays the position, but to me the most important thing is going to be is how his back holds up.
2-0 the count to him. Hits that one hard to right center field. Going back is Miller, and he got there. The wind is blowing in from right center, and he hit that with a little topspin on it. It's kind of like the ball he hit the other day for the double to right center.
But he's making a lot of loud outs here in spring training. That ball a lot of days will be off the wall or out of the ballpark, but as you said, the combination of the wind, and it's a top spinner. If he gets backspin on that thing, it's, oh, maybe that's out there with the alligators over the right field wall.
Are there alligators out there?
There used to be a pond out there, isn't there?
There is.
You know, most of the ponds around here. There's a place yesterday where we saw some ponds with some big alligators. Ooh.
Here's Hunter Pence. Pence takes a breaking ball. You know, you should try to coax Sargent to going out there and letting him know that there are not alligators, but get him out there somehow.
Well, yesterday he was in an area where there was an alligator and his golf ball was near there. And he did not really want to go down and find it.
That'd be great. Pence is 5 for 14 this spring. He has scored 4 runs.
You can ask him about that large reptile near his pelota yesterday.
Did he have enough golf balls to replace it?
He must have had a lot of balls with him yesterday. It was a tough track, and it was tough out there yesterday. But he has good and bad days, you know.
Mattis falls behind Hunter Pence, 3 balls and 1 strike. Pence hits it hard on 2 hops. Good play by Flaherty. And the throw pulls Davis off the bag, but there are 2 outs.
He's not fooling anybody in this inning. It's a nice play. As Tom said, this ball is hit right on the nose. Because Pence hits his ground ball so hard. The guy's got nice actions.
This is a Rule 5 selection from the Chicago Cubs, former first-round pick. J.J. Hardy will be the everyday shortstop for Baltimore. But the Orioles have to keep Flaherty for the entire year, much like the Phillies had to keep Michael Martinez last year and David Herndon the year before. Otherwise, they have to offer him back to the Cubs. Rule 5 selections take place every December.
Seems like a lot of them are taken back by organizations too. That's why the Phillies got so fortunate with Shane Victorino that when he was offered back to the Dodgers, they declined. And then he went on to have a tremendous season at AAA.
1-2 the count to Wigginton. Depending on how old a player is when he's drafted or signed, you have 5 or 6 years before you have to put that player on the 40-man roster. Otherwise, the Rule 5, they'll be placed into the Rule 5 draft, and other teams can pick them up. And that's the case with Flaherty.
Yeah, and that's to help the player so he doesn't get stagnated in a particular organization and give him a chance to move around a little bit. They get to 6 years too in the minor leagues, and they become a 6-year minor league free agent, can sign other places.
1-2 the count. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Is that a word, stagnate? I mean, is that correct grammar? Yeah.
I don't remember how you used it. Doesn't sound like it's correct though.
Yeah, it did.
3-2. Ty Wigginton is 3 for 9 this spring. Last year 15 home runs, 47 runs batted in. He's played third, he's played first, and he's played second.
That's what spring training's for. He played with the Orioles for some years.
Yep. That ball got away from the ball girl, and she kind of gave up on it and figured that somebody else would go pick it up. She was not given the ground rules before the game today.
Dan McDonough didn't do his job. Hard to believe.
And a called strike 3. Wigginton thought it was ball 4. First strikeout of the day for Mattis. We've completed 2. Fans settling in here at Bright House. In downtown Clearwater, they kind of startle you every once in a while when they come around a corner. The Fanatic will be celebrating a birthday on Sunday, April 29th at 1:35. It's brought to you by Citizens Bank, and fans 14 and under get a free Fanatic Bank. It's all part of a 4-game series against the Chicago Cubs that wraps up with a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night.
Sure, they were startled to see you come around a corner too.
I don't know. They would. I think you would expect my car coming around a corner, not that car.
Well, just the way you may come around the corner.
That's true. Wilson Pettimete leads it off for the Orioles.
Life's all timing.
Pettimete singled his last time up. You're going to have people following me, Wheels, back home if you're not careful.
They do anyway.
What did you the count? Pettimete now 30 years old. And the 1-2 pitch. And a called strike 3. Well, that was a good pitch.
Yeah, it looked like the slider, and the pitch before that appeared to be a curveball. So Joe's throwing a lot more off-speed pitches. Let's see. Yeah, that's a slider.
Rich Doobie will check out the velocity after the ball game, I would think. He was just signaling to Rod Nichols, the Lehigh Valley pitching coach, to see if Scott Ellerton was ready. That means Blanton must be getting close to his pitch count.
Yeah, if he can get through this, this inning without a lot of trouble, then he'll go 3 innings. But as you said, Tom, it all depends on his pitch count.
He's at 43 pitches. Here's the 0-1 to Nick Johnson, and it's a breaking ball for strike. 0-2.
Maybe 50 is the magic number. All the new techniques, ways to communicate nowadays, and they can still just do it with the hats.
That's old school.
That really is old school. Dubes just took the hat off, and Rod Nichols did the same thing in the bullpen, and he's okay. You need my guy? He's ready.
Ball's hit well to center field. Victorino is back there, though. Wynn helped that one a little bit, and it was hit toward the end of the bat. And there are 2 outs here in the third. So Blanton has 2 outs here in the third, and he'll face Matt Wieters, who reached on a fielder's choice his last time up. Wieters last year had 22 home runs and 68 runs batted in.
Talking about Ben Davis doing some work the last couple of years for Comcast Sports. Now, you didn't usually see big, tall catchers like Ben Davis, and now here's another one in Wieters.
Yeah, a lot of times when they get this tall, they kind of grow out of the position.
Yeah, because they sit up a little bit high sometimes behind the plate, and pitchers want that low target. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of catchers are short and stubby.
I thought it was because they weren't really fast on the base paths.
That's one of the reasons. Short and stubby's not usually quick unless you were Kirby Puckett. Huh?
2-2 the count.
Well, he could run.
Wieters was on the cover of Sports Illustrated during his rookie year. It's not often that a Baltimore Oriole gets on the cover of Sports Illustrated recently, but even a rookie. He reached out, loops that one to left center field. Victorino and Mayberry there. It's Victorino who makes the catch. Nice job by Joe Blanton. It's a 1-2-3 top of the third. See you later, Fanatic. Bank. We're for homes. Talk to us today about how we can help guide you to the loan that's right for you. Well, it's turned out to be a nice afternoon here in Clearwater. Orioles have 4 hits so far, but Joe Blatton has been clean through 3. Some of the areas that you can sit and watch the game here at Bright House Field, that's on the second deck down the right field line. There are more seats down the right field line in the upper deck than there are down the left field line. In fact, there are none down the left field.
Yeah, the offices are down
right there. There are the offices to your left.
Go to the telestrator and show you right there to the left. They can come out of their offices, the executives over there, and just sit and watch a game.
And those lifeguard kind of chairs. It's a great view. John Mayberry leads it off. Mayberry 4 for 16 this spring. He's got himself a lot of at-bats, and he's playing first base and left field. I'm sure as spring moves on, he might even play a little center field. Oh, and 1 the count to him. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. It'll be Mayberry, Galvis, and Tuffy go switch, and the Phillies third. He waited on that pitch. He looped it toward right center field, and an over-the-shoulder basket catch by Antonelli. It's a nice play.
Yeah, this thing comes down like a parachute because the wind knocked it down. It looked like it may drop in there, but you can see it started to come down in a hurry for him. That's very athletic play. Nice job.
So an out here in the third, thanks to Antonelli at second. And Freddie Galvis, the hitter, who's also playing second base. Galvis is 5 for 14 this spring. Sent some of his teammates scattering. Back corner of the dugout.
Well, those dugouts are target-rich environments this time of the year. A lot of players early in the games.
And a lot are standing up on the railing. Galvis, you see, 5 for 14. Last year, he combined to hit .278 with 8 home runs and 43 runs batted in. That included a .298 clip at AAA. He goes after an off-speed pitch, and that's the second strikeout for Mattis.
Pretty good changeup.
Phillies home opener on April 9th may be sold out, but that doesn't mean you'll miss out on opening week. Tickets are available for games during the opening homestand, including great promotions and great rivals, including the new look Miami Marlins. See Phillies.com for ticket information and to make your purchase.
That'd be one to be a little tough to get used to. Not saying Florida Marlins anymore.
Miami Marlins.
Miami Marlins. Baltimore used to train down there in a stadium where the Miami Marlins minor league team played.
Tuffy go switches the hitter. I have to say, I've been to that facility. That's the one in Fort Lauderdale, near Fort Lauderdale.
That was where the Yankees.
Right.
Were. These guys were in Miami.
Right. And then they went to Fort Lauderdale.
Right. Exactly. When the Yankees came over here.
That ballpark in Fort Lauderdale.
Whew, it's a little old.
It is. In so many different ways.
Yeah. But the one
out by the airport.
The one in Miami was pretty beat up too.
Was it?
I remember going over there a couple times.
1-2 the count to Tuffy go switch. And he cracks one toward the hole under the glove of Betemit, and Tuffy has his third hit of the spring. Second hit for the Phillies. And we head back to the top of the order for Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, this is a C&I hit. Looks like another changeup from Brian Mattis, and he has a good changeup, and Betemit not able to get to it.
Rollins singled his first time up.
Mark Reynolds will be their third baseman again.
He's having some back tightness too.
Yeah, he did in the American League what he did in the National League. Hit a lot of home runs and struck out a lot.
Well, Jimmy Rollins will be retired by the first baseman Chris Davis. So the Phillies leave one here in the third. We've played our first 3 here in Clearwater. The 14th, it's Teva Respiratory Asthma Awareness Night. And then the Phillies and Astros are right back at it the next day on Tuesday the 15th for a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. As always, go to Phillies.com for information on tickets. You can also go to Phillies.com today, and you can see a story that Todd Zolecki wrote. And Bob Brookover wrote a similar story about our new pitcher. It's right-hander Scott Ellerton, who will take over for Joe Blanton. It was a great recap of Ellerton's last year or so. His last time in the majors was back in 08 with the Cleveland Indians when he pitched in 8 games. He's been out of the game basically for the last 3 years, aside from a 16-game stint in the White Sox farm system. Former first-round pick of the Houston Astros. And if you ever wanted to find anything out about Scott Ellerton, those 2 stories had it in the papers and online. Gary Matthews joins us up here in the booth. Chris Davis leads it off for the Orioles. Swings at the first pitch, and it's 0-1.
Long time to be out of the major leagues and be able to come back. But a lot of times, though, too, for pitchers, their arms get a lot stronger. So they're able to come back as opposed to a hitter trying to catch up and being able to catch up to 98 or breaking balls, splits, etc.
That ball is cracked well to right field, and it's not coming back. That's going to be a solo home run for Chris Davis. And the Orioles take a 1-0 lead.
Yep, that's right in the happy zone. Down and in. Boy, he didn't miss it. Got to give him some credit on that.
Charlie Manuel spends a lot of time watching hitters. Chris Davis, he did exactly what you expect a left-handed hitting power hitter do with that swing.
Well, look exactly where the pitch is. See that? That's down and in. That's right in the happy zone. He cleared his hips on that and just got around on that ball the way you should.
Here's Jay Miller, who takes a fastball for a strike.
Good balls that come in that area that don't move. Boy, you're going to have some problems.
Miller singled his first time up. He has 4 hits and 8 at-bats this spring.
Orioles definitely in a rebuilding situation. Got some pretty good young players. Jim Presley, the hitting coach, is happy with quite a few of the hitters. Easier to teach those younger hitters, though, Tom, because they're not set in their ways. Well, the veteran guys that have been there before, they have a tendency to still want to do it their way. You talk to managers, you ask them what's more difficult, to manage a star or a falling star. I would have to think the falling star, but stars have their ways about them too.
Well, that's a pretty nice pitch by Scott Ellerton to pick up his first strikeout. So how easy is it to then manage a rising star?
Oh, I think much easier, because they're going to go and have ideas that the manager wants to do, and they do exactly like those guys do it. The veteran guys, they're stuck in their own ways and don't really want to change. But the younger rising stars, they're willing to listen, willing to do what you need them to do to even get better.
Well, and the Orioles do have some of these young stars, or potential stars, and Buck Showalter, who's their manager, has a reputation of being a pretty demanding guy.
Yeah, well, he is a demanding guy. He's done a good job with them. They're in an awful difficult division. American League East there with the Yankees you have there and the Blue Jays. All those teams getting better. And Boston, they took last place. Baltimore last year. They might have to do that again this year.
Well, they have 6 straight years of 92 losses or more. As Mahoney swings through that pitch from Ellerton, and it's 0-2.
That's a long season, losing that many games. As a player, you're almost hoping that season gets over with, maybe even a month earlier.
Ellerton shakes off the first sign. Not a bad location. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mahoney hit into a 1-4-6-3 double play his first time up. And he's down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Scott Ellerton. Joe Blanton had 3 strikeouts this afternoon. Greg Murphy looked pretty good out there, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. And I just finished having a conversation with Joe Blanton. He said, he threw a lot more changeups today than he did in his first outing. It wasn't necessarily the plan coming in, but the Orioles hitters were so aggressive he decided to change it up a little bit, so he threw a lot of changeups. He said what he was most happy with was the way he had some action on that pitch. He said the location will come as the spring goes on, but really excited to see the action on his changeup today.
Well, he was able to get the last 4 hitters in a row, and he looked pretty sharp in doing that. Scott Ellerton, despite the home run, has looked pretty sharp here in the 4th. He has allowed a home run. The Orioles take the lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Well, you need your sunglasses out here now. You didn't need them this morning when the 2 teams were taking batting practice. Place is jammed. Even the kids' land out in left field is jammed this afternoon, as you would expect. Last of the 4th. 1-0 Orioles. They have 1 run on 5 hits. The Phillies, no runs on 2 hits. Joe Blanton went 3 innings for the Phillies. Now Brian Mattis is beginning his 4th inning for the Orioles. He's been pretty efficient. He's allowed just those 2 hits. Polanco grounded out to short his first time up. He's 0 for 1. He takes on the outside corner.
How about Davey Johnson, manager with the Washington Nationals, kind of comparing his pitching staff to the Fighting Phils.
Is that fair?
I don't think it's fair to his guys, but obviously to get them going to the field that they're just as good. He would say that.
Well, he certainly has potential with Gio Gonzalez and Steven Strasburg and Jordan Zimmerman, but to compare those 3 to Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels might be a little bit of a stretch. I know he did say that that Hamels, Lee, and Halladay, because of their Cy Youngs and stuff like that and their reputation, are pretty sound pitchers.
Well, they've gone through the wars. I mean,
right.
Gio Gonzalez, who the Fighting Phils actually had in 06 in Reading, has turned into a pretty good pitcher. But those are the things that you like. It looks like he could probably be their leader. Zimmerman gets hurt and has been hurt the last couple of years. So, he's just really trying to build them up and make them feel that they're just as good, that staff. And who knows? I mean, Strasburg, the way that he throws, he's going to be a pitcher to be reckoned with.
But he still has to do it.
He still has to prove that he can go in and do it, sustain a long season, which it is a long season. But that National League East, I'll tell you, it's going to be, I think the Fighting Phils still for me are the favorite, but those other teams have closed the gap. Florida Marlins for one. Ozzie Guillen over there, it's going to be interesting. He's not going to let that club lay down at all. And see whether or not he can get them on the same page.
1-2 to Victorino. He lines it down the left field line. It's a fair ball. It'll take a hop onto the wall. And Victorino is going to be at second base with a stand-up double. Last year he had 27 two-base hits. And he has one here with one out in the fourth.
Oh, look at that. He's getting in good form, though. But that's the pitch he handles, the one that's down, kind of out over the zone there, especially right-handed. You know he has good speed. Automatic double for just about any player, and especially Victorino when he hits it in the left field down the line.
So a runner in scoring position. Jim Thome's the hitter. Thome flied to right, hit the ball well his first time up. Phillies down 1-0 here in the bottom of the fourth against the Orioles. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Well, getting back to your conversation about the Nationals, they won 10 games against the Phillies last year. But I guess we have to see what they do against everybody else to see whether they will be one of the threats in the National League East. I think Davey was probably asked the question about his rotation, and he probably couldn't help himself.
Well, you know what, you bring up a good point. Seeing how the team does against the other team.
Just everybody.
And that's what the Fighting Phils have done. They've really played well in their own division, but more importantly against some of the other teams there in that National League.
2-1 the count to Thome. Well, you think about Gio Gonzalez, Steven Strasburg, Jordan Zimmerman, not necessarily in that order, and you compare them to Halladay, Lee, and Hamels, I still don't think there's a comparison there.
No, but the one thing is they're not going to be afraid, and let's see if our hitters are up to the task with those pitchers.
2-2 the count to Thome as he fouls that one away.
Being able to score a fair amount of runs for, the pitching staff, and even the Fighting Phils. I mean, do you want Big Joe Blanton maybe in Worley back to back? I mean, that's a question that you're going to want to, have answered. So you're talking if they are starting the number 4 and 5 starter.
Toby's down on strikes. Third strikeout for Mattis.
Out of the zone on that. Good old fashioned fastball, but again, that's out of the zone, borderline high. Thome swings through it.
Well, I think that as we get deeper into spring training, and I'm sure Rich Doobie already has it in his mind, that they may split things up, where you put the two lefties between the right-handed pitchers. So the styles, which are somewhat similar, there won't be a pattern that'll be picked up by the other teams.
Well, Halladay, if he starts off again, and you'll have the two lefties back to back, then the two righties, and you're right, they might split them up. But
right, you could go Halladay, Lee, Blanton, or Worley, then Hamels. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And keep in mind now, you want your best pitchers to be able to pitch as many times as they possibly can, as if 3, 4, and 5 hitters, especially 3 and 4, you want them up as many times as you possibly can during the course of the season.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Hunter Pence. 2 outs here in the fourth. Runner at second.
Those are usually the guys that are your better hitters, or usually does the most damage.
Pence grounded out to shortstop his first time up. He's 5 for 15 this spring. And Mattis comes back and strikes out the last 2 hitters here in the fourth. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We've completed our first 4. the new opening day 3-game pack, the summer weekend 3-game pack, and the Red Sox 3-game pack. Go to Phillies.com for more details. You see that information right there. Some restrictions, of course, do apply. There you go, Sarge. Xavier Avery bunted that ball back behind home plate and landed just in front of El Sargento's vantage point.
Yeah, tried to put the one hand out to grab it.
Wrong hand.
Don't want the hand that you're going to eat with, Tom. Just in case.
1-1 the count to Avery.
Well, those are one of the kids that Jim Presley is high on. Had the opportunity to meet Avery earlier today. Asked him if he could hit. He said, yes, sir. He can't run, though. Hitting ninth in the lineup.
A little cue shot. Well, we'll see him run right here. Polanco gets to it quickly, releases it quickly, and he can run fast. But Polanco up to the task. 1 out. Polanco playing in his 3rd game over at third base this spring. They'll ease him in. And they have guys like Ty Wigginton, who's playing third a little bit. Hector Luna, who's playing third a little bit. Ryan Flaherty will be the batter. There is even some talk that Freddie Galvis will play a little third as the spring moves on. There's a strike. Galvis at second today. A shortstop by trade. But he's been taking some ground balls over at third base.
Yeah, long line of shortstop coming from Venezuela. It seems as though they breed those kind of players. Louis Aparicio, Hall of Famer just for one. And you know, a lot of those guys, their numbers, number 13. Ozzie Guillen, I believe, wore number 13. Davey Concepcion, number 13.
And of course, Galvis is wearing that number 13 right now.
It must be one of those things in Venezuela. I mean, when you're coming up to be a shortstop, it is the position that you want to be in. Well, I guess they must have to be able to tell them that position is the most important position to play, shortstop. That's why you have so many of them that are playing there that have come from Venezuela.
Low 1-2. Ellerton struck out 2 in his first inning of work, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Ryan Flaherty.
One of those shortstop, Tom, still playing. Omar Vizquel, isn't he still playing? I believe.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Another shortstop, number 13, I believe.
What do you think about the Phillies moving Galvis around now a little bit?
I think it's good to be able to see the different positions that he can play. You know, he can play defense, I would think, just about in any of them. You know, the question now is whether or not he's going to be able to hit enough in order to stay there at those positions.
The ball's popped up near the rim of the infield in foul territory. 2 outs. So Ellerton has the first 2 here in the 5th, and now Wilson Beninny will be the hitter.
But they're going to give him definitely a long look. I mean, obviously. But if he is utility, knowing though he's not going to have to play all the time, but at least you want to, you know, make sure that he has a good chance of getting a hit and that he's just not an out. You know, especially if the pitcher is hitting behind him.
Charlie Manuel, who you just saw, you know, spent some time behind the cage today. He'd go from the left side of the box to the right side of the box just to watch guys' tendencies. Greg Gross was there as well, looking at, you know, guys like Freddie Galvis.
Right, and sometimes too, just not Tom strong enough. The one thing though, when you look at his minor league numbers where he hasn't struck out 100 times yet, that's a plus. But he's putting it in play, not doing a whole lot of damage right now. But you know, average has been coming up throughout the minor leagues, and you know, he starts to play a little bit more. It should even get better. Once he's able to hit, he'll be a fine shortstop. There'll be no question about that. He has the arm.
Or I guess in this case, since Rollins is signed for at least 3 years, then he could even help out at other positions.
Yeah, well, help out at other positions, but they're not going to want to play Jimmy Rollins, I don't think, on an everyday basis. And when it looks like he's getting a little bit tired, some of the past years, now you're able to put a guy in shortstop that you know at least defensively he's going to be just fine.
3-2 the count to Wilson Betemit. He has got great hands, Freddie Galvis. Just 22 years old. That's the thing. Even after Jimmy's contract is over, if they hit the 4th year, he's only going to be 26 years old. Swing and a miss. Ellerton comes back to get Betemit. It's his 3rd strikeout in 2 innings. A 1-2-3 5th inning. 1-0 Orioles. Maybe we'll see Galvis when we get back. Price is $13. Members receive 2012 Junior Phillies duffel bag, a Hunter Pence poster and collectible magnets, a membership card, discounts, and membership benefits. Go to Phillies.com/Junior Phillies Club for more information. And it's presented by Powerade. Alfredo Simon is the new pitcher for the Orioles. That name might sound a little familiar. Well, partly because he was in the news last year because of an accidental shooting, but also because he was a member of the Phillies at one point during his career. Last year in 23 games, he was 4-9 with a 4.90 earned run average. Spent 4 years in the Phillies organization. As Ty Wigginton leads it off and pops the first pitch foul. Wigginton struck out his first time up. So both starters are done for the day. Mattis, well, if you're an Oriole fan, you have to be impressed with what he did. 4 innings, 4 strikeouts, no runs. Joe Blanton, I think you have to be impressed with what he did too. 3 innings for the Phillies.
You know, Joe's one of those pitchers. He bends but just doesn't break. Have runners on and seem to be able to get them out as Ty kind of bails on a little slider. You can always tell, however, when that ball is breaking toward you, you kind of do a little dance getting out of the way if that ball comes over the plate.
1-2 is down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wigginton struck out looking his first time up. He's 3 for 10 now in the spring.
Said he'd rather play right field than any other position. Said it's a little easier than the rest of those positions.
Wigginton did?
Yes. Yeah. Asked him all about that.
That one's hit on the hands behind second. Flaherty is there to make the catch.
Got a little longer for the ball to get there. He talked about the infield, how quick it gets to you.
I know he's played a little outfield, but I just think of him as an infielder now. I mean, just because of where his career's taken him.
Right. Well, he'd rather be playing right field.
He'd rather be the outfield.
Well, that's the furthest from the ball, as you know. Oh, boy.
Well, he may get a chance to play some outfield. I mean, he's that versatile where he can, play 3 of the 4 infield positions. Simone just a bit outside.
It's more embarrassing to a pitcher than anything else as he holds on to that breaking ball. Look at that. I mean, that's just nowhere near the zone.
Buck Showalter walking next to John Russell, his bench coach.
Asking him, did you see that?
Unfortunately, I think 10,000 folks saw it. John Russell, former Philly. 1-2 the count to John Mayberry. Buck Showalter's got a good staff. You talked about Jim Presley as hitting coach, John Russell as bench coach, former manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, former Phillies manager in their farm system. They have DeMarlo Hale as their third base coach, who was the bench coach for Terry Francona up until last year. He's a great guy and a manager in waiting.
Good swing on a breaking ball. That's what you like to see Mayberry do. I mean, you want him to stay right in there when that ball's coming as opposed to bailing on the ball. Look at that, how he's right. Look where his eyes are, right there on it, just missing that. That ball goes a long way during the season.
Oh, Simone picks up the strikeout. That's the 5th strikeout of the day for the Orioles pitchers. And the first for Alfredo.
Now that's all about hitting, though. You get a pitch that you should be able to hit, and then you miss that one. Now he comes back with a hard sinker, a pitcher's pitch, and one that's very difficult to hit.
Freddie Galvis struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. The number 8 hitter in the Phils lineup. Well, Simone does throw hard. That fastball comes in the mid-90s.
Hard, a little bit wild. Always an advantage for the pitcher.
Galvis gets some wood on that one. It's slicing away from the left fielder Mahoney, but he makes the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 5th inning. 5 in the books here at Bright House Field. Orioles 1, Phillies nothing. Contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity HD Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, lightning fast internet, and home phone. Well, 5 in the books. Grounds crew here at Bright House Field. They do a tremendous job manicuring the field in between innings. Opie Cheek and his boys. These fields get a lot of activity during spring training, obviously. And the ones at the backfield and the adjacent half field to this ballpark. And it is packed this afternoon. Scott Ellerton getting set for his 3rd inning of work. Nick Johnson, Matt Wieters, Chris Davis. because both staffs have thrown well today. Managers at this point like to give their starters at least 3 at-bats. So we're here in the 6th inning, and everybody's still in the ballgame except the starting pitchers. And a swing and a miss. There's another strikeout for Ellerton. That's his 4th. Greg Murphy has been roaming around the ballpark, and he has found someone familiar to the Philadelphia area. Murph?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Tom. With Gene McDonald, the longtime coach of the LaSalle Explorers, he has seen some baseball games over the year. He lives down here in Florida now, out here enjoying the Phillies. And as you watch a team like the Phils, and over the past couple of years, it sure has been fun to watch these guys, has it not?
Yes, it has. It really has. I've become a Rays fan, but I still follow the Phillies.
Well, we'll let you off the hook on that one. Let's talk a little bit about your career, because as I said, 36 years coaching college baseball. You played baseball before that, 4 years in high school. You played in college as well. And one of the interesting things was one of the first coaches to bring guys down here to Florida to get their work in early in the season, right?
1964. I figured we can't play in March up in Philly, so we took a chance and came down and fell in love with Florida, and here I am.
And he stayed here, guys, and I can't say that I'm surprised by it. He's enjoying the baseball game today. What do you think are the chances for the Phils this year?
Oh, I think they're good. Got good pitching. Got to be able to score a little more runs. But they'll be fine. I like their lineup. I really do.
All right. That's from a coach, a longtime coach of the LaSalle Explorers, Gene McDonald, joining us here, guys. A big group from LaSalle here in the picnic area today. We send it back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Murph's alma mater, St. Joseph's, just opened up a brand new baseball facility across the street from the main campus. Yesterday, they had their first home game against Iona. Beautiful new field. Chris Davis is the hitter after Matt Wieters grounded out to second. And the count is no balls and 1 strike.
Well, everybody says almost the same thing. Hope they score a few more runs. Well, you know, J-Roll talked about that too. I mean, really, and taking back a little bit of the clubhouse there and being able to do, I mean, just that. And really, though, for an everyday player, you want to be able to score runs for your pitchers. Good cutter. Well, you play hard against every time that you're in there, and Charlie, he sure would enjoy a few more runs there.
713 last year, which was 7th in the National League, but there have been years where it's been the tops in the National League.
But see, with that pitching staff, however, you can get away with it if you can just score a little bit more, make them feel more comfortable.
Chris Davis lofts one into left field. John Mayberry puts it away. How about Scott Ellerton? Since the home run, he's retired 9 in a row. Jeff now for an appointment. Well, a great spot to watch the ball game. Also a great spot to maybe snag an autograph or two. Right down the left field line, one of the picnic areas here at Bright House Field. Guys saying hello back to the folks in Philadelphia. Last of the 6th. Phillies down 1-0. Alfredo Simone against Tuffy Goswitch. And a strike. It's 0-1.
Well, Tuffy, too, playing in Double-A. Had 13 home runs last year. Tell you there that he is an offensive type of catcher. That would be pretty nice for the Fighting Fields. He's a little ways off. Probably should be in Double-A, probably Triple-A, I would think, this year. And then if he is, that way you know if anybody gets hurt, he'll be up here right away. See Mick down there and actually looking at him, looking at his actions. That's what he'll do, is they'll go back and say, hey, listen, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. Defensively, Mick's not going to help him very much offensively.
Well, I think Tuffy would be very excited, and so would Mick, if he heard you call him an offensive kind of catcher. But 13 home runs is a career high. It was a pretty impressive year for him. Lifts that one into foul territory down the left field line. Betemit is over, and he's just out of reach.
Well, usually when you go over, you're going to at least look down to see exactly where you were going. He's lucky he didn't flip right into the stands on that. Well, he took a little peek. Should have took one more because he thought he had a bead on it and really had no chance as he goes in and knocks down some of the Philly fans.
By the way, let me correct myself. That's Josh Bell, who has taken over for Wilson Betemit here in the bottom of the 6th. 0-2 the count to Tuffy Goswitch. Line drive, base hit into left field. And that should be 2. The new left fielder, L.J. Hose, gets it in, but Goswitch slides in safely. He's got 2 hits today.
Well, he's showing some quick hands. That ball inside as he gets to it, whacks it in the left field. Saying catchers can't run. Look where this ball is, and running on the inside part of the plate as he gets extension on it. You know, by then, and we talked about it, just about everybody can get a double as he slides into your pitcher.
So Goswitch is on second. Joe Mahoney, who was in left field, is now over at first base for Chris Davis. And Jimmy Rollins is the hitter with a runner at scoring position. Rollins shows bunt, takes low.
These are the situations that they have been preaching about all during spring training. You get a runner over, nobody out. You want to get him over to third base if you're making out. Just don't want to hit that ball to the left side, especially if you don't have 2 strikes on it.
Now it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Looking for a ball that he can pull. Therefore, if he gets a fastball on the outside part of the plate, you want to go on and take that. You can zone hit him right now. I mean, you're in the driver's seat.
That's what Charlie's telling Shane Victorino right now. 2-0. This is the part where you box the pitcher in.
Hey, that's okay. Threw him a breaking ball, and you could tell that he did because J-Ro was looking fastball all the way. That's showing discipline when you're able to take an off-speed pitch and you're looking for a fastball.
Line drive caught. They may get 2. Nope. Goswitch is able to get back.
Good base running though by Tuffy. Line drive. No, not necessarily. Even if it goes through, you want to score. You want to make sure you're not doubled up. He did a good job on that, freezing on a line drive hit by J-Ro. And there's J-Ro as he hits a line drive, and that's what you want to do to that pitch. See how fast Tuffy's back? Freezes, gets back. Didn't even have to slide. Correct way of running the bases.
Well, again, a runner in scoring position for Polanco. He's not looking to move him over. He's looking to drive him in.
Yep.
And a fastball inside, 1-0. Polanco 0 for 2 today. He's grounded to short. He's flied out to right. 1-0 Orioles. They scored their run in the 4th on a home run against Scott Ellerton. Came off the bat at Chris Davis, who's no longer in the game. But Ellerton has been very strong.
He's had a good off-speed pitch.
2-0.
One pitch for a home run. The ball just didn't move. Obviously, he didn't have it in the spot that he wanted to. Put good wood on that ball. You do that here in right field. Flags are blowing out. Of course, that ball would have got out of here with no win.
Still a good hitter's count for Polanco. 2 balls, 1 strike. Opposite way, base hit into right field. Go switch will be held at third. Jay Miller got to that ball quickly. So first and third with 1 out.
Good to see Polanco. Familiar swing, hitting that ball right into right field. This is his bread and butter. He hits a good pitch. That ball down and away. He used to kind of pull off of that ball. Good throw coming in. Low throws, very difficult to have that runner advance or score.
Miller also showed a very good arm. Here's Pete Orr, who will pinch run for Placido Polanco. So our first change for the Phillies, aside from the starting pitcher.
Well, it's so good to see solid contact with Polanco. And last year, obviously, with all the different injuries, just wasn't up to the task, and especially late in the season.
Here's Shane Victorino with the runners on first and third. By the way, Caleb Joseph is the new catcher for the Orioles. Even if you didn't know it, you can see there's a size difference behind the plate right now with Wieters not being in there.
It's been his best pitch so far, that little slider. He's been able to throw that after he's thrown a ball or two. Not only that, he's had it in a pretty good spot. Victorino wanting contact, preferably a long fly ball, if not a gap in the outfield someplace.
Victorino doubled from the right side of the plate his last time up. His home run this spring has come from the left side of the plate. Inside, 2-1.
Well, the problem Victorino had is in those hitting counts, swinging at the high fastballs out of the zone. That's one of the things he needs to work on this spring, being able to make sure he gets a good pitch to hit, especially with runners in scoring position. That seemed to be the problem with him last year.
Pretty good breaking pitch, 2-1.
Well,
so
he's been able to do that.
Hitters counts, he's throwing cutter and curveball.
Exactly. You know, and they do that in the American League too. You know that, throwing a lot of off-speed type of pitches. Victorino again there looking fastball, as most of them do in those situations. Tip your hat to the pitcher. He's able to get it over, but now it's more of a self-defense type of swing.
Well, and he threw an off-speed pitch. Victorino is rung up. Second strikeout for Simone. And the 6th overall.
Looked to be almost as if it was a split.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're right.
See how that ball darts down? Boy, it looks like a fastball to the hitter. That's why he's so out in front of that ball. Looks like a fastball at the last minute. Actually dips down.
So Alfredo Simone in a little bit of trouble here in the 6th, but he's got 2 outs now. He allowed a leadoff double to Tuffy Goswitch. And then Jimmy Rollins hit it right on the screws, but lined out to first. After Polanco's single, Victorino strikes out, and the first pitch to Thome is low, 1-0. Ghost switch broke for a moment, thinking that ball might get away from Caleb Joseph. Pete Orr being held on at first. Two and 0 the count. Well, he's fallen behind almost every hitter.
Yeah, falling behind and then able to throw a strike, and not only that, a quality strike. Let's see where he goes to. He's been throwing the slider when he's behind in the count. See whether or not he's going to just come out and challenge Thome with a fastball.
Well, he does.
Just the opposite. Now Jim was sitting on, the breaking ball. Always a cat and mouse game in terms of pitcher and batter.
What do you think the cat's going to do here?
Well, I'd go on and stay with my strength, and I've always done it. Look for that fastball, unless you got one of those soft throwing lefties out there.
The mouse may have done something a little different, as Avery makes the catch and Simone works out of a jam. Phillies get a couple base runners, but that's it. We go to the 7th, still 1-0 O's.
Counts here. Use a little comeback sinker there, it looked like. There's another good changeup that he threw. And then Scott Ellerton, the only run in this game is a home run here by Chris Davis. And that just looks like a high sinker. And he hit a long way out to right center field. And here's a look at what went on here with Brian Mattis. What he did, nice job as a starter for the Orioles. Davis's home run. Joe Blanton, a good effort here this afternoon. And Tuffy Go Switch has tried to get the Phillies on the scoreboard, but not able to do it so far because they've left him stranded.
Well, Scott Ellerton's pitched well despite that home run. Jay Miller leads it off here in the 7th for the Baltimore Orioles. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Miller today 1 for 2. He's singled. He's also struck out before. Play, and it remains no balls and 2 strikes. Ellerton, after allowing that home run, has retired 9 consecutive hitters. 4 strikeouts along the way. His fastballs look good. His movement is good. And his command is good, aside from the home run.
Yeah, he's pitching his 4th inning.
Towering pop-up. Pete Orr just into the game. The pinch ran for Polanco over toward the railing. Has one. away. So Fedor settling into third. Michael Martinez is at shortstop for Jimmy Rollins. And Tyson Gillies is in center field. Those are the only changes at the moment for the Phillies. And as guys get another at bat, we'll see some more changes. Joe Mahoney has moved from left field to first base. He's 0 for 2 today. Up for the third time. I went into the clubhouse just to look at who the pitchers were going to be for today. You know, they always list them. And it did say Joe Blanton and then Scott Ellerton.
Yeah.
And usually there's guys after that, but there wasn't.
Especially this early.
Yeah, there were extra guys that were down in the bottom who we will see. But usually they have guys who specifically will work today lined up. But we're at that point in spring training where, you know, guys are just going deeper and deeper.
You're also dealing with a split squad situation tomorrow.
Right.
And they're going to need more pitchers, so they probably are holding some guys back today that they're going to need tomorrow. One game here and another game on the road.
Michael Martinez records the 6-3 put out. Well, you can follow the Phillies in that split squad tomorrow on MLB.com at Bat 12 for your iPhone, iPad, or Android. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit Phillies.com for details. It's the chart of Rich Doobie, who's probably liked what he has seen today from Joe Blanton.
Well, there is somebody in the bullpen just in case they need him. Raul Valdez was supposed to be third today, and that's who it looked like it is.
There's Raul. Might see, according to the list in the clubhouse, Joe Avery, excuse me, Jake Diekman. Right now, Matt Antonelli is the batter. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to Antonelli. Boy, Elton, really good.
Well, it's almost all sinker slider, a few changeups mixed in, and that's what he was when he was a successful major league pitcher.
Off the end of the bat, Wigginton backs up on it. He'll take it to the bag himself. Another 1, 2, 3 innings for Ellerton. He's retired 12 in a row, 3 straight 1, 2, 3 innings. Last of the 7th inning, Phillies down 1-0. This is as clean a spring training game as you will see.
Easy.
I'm just saying, up until this point.
Right.
I'm not projecting anything for the future.
You know what happens.
Alfredo Simone in his 3rd inning of relief.
Been a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings, a lot of strikeouts, and you know, and it's not like the wind's blowing in either.
Want to know the count to Pence? We're going to miss 1-1. Well, I think the key has been the pitching. The pitching's been for both teams really good.
A lot of strikeouts today.
Brian Mattis had 4 strikeouts for the Orioles, 2 so far for Simone. New second baseman for the Orioles is Ryan Adams. And behind him in right field is Scott Bearer. Bearer is the correct way of saying it. B-E-E-R-E-R. A lot of vowels. Into foul territory. Mahoney is told he has room, and he makes the catch.
Between innings, looking down there in the stands, and we talked earlier about the loss of Harry Wendelstedt. Tough loss, great umpire, but there's another umpire down there today who retired last year from the Philadelphia area. Jerry Crawford's watching the ball game, and he just looked up and he was showing how his golf swing is fine. He's feeling much better. I just made a motion down to him like, how's your back? And he gave me a golf swing, saying I'm just fine, because you don't have to catch foul balls in the mask anymore. Well, he was a good umpire.
One ball and 1 strike the count to Ty Wigginton, who's 0 for 2. Struck out looking, popped out to short. 1-2 the count to Ty Wigginton. Wigginton now 3 for 11 in the spring. Stays alive. Well, they're certainly giving Ty Wigginton looks at a handful of different positions, which is what we expected. They've said that Chase Utley's coming along. He took batting practice again today. He looks great. And he probably won't start playing games until we're winding down spring training.
It's only the 8th game.
Wigginton's down on strikes, 2 outs here in the 7th.
This was the 28th game, and he hadn't played yet. You think, oh, that's not good.
Ruben Amaro brought up a great point, though. Where this ballpark is located is the Carpenter Complex is right behind it. And there are a ton of minor league games that are now going on throughout the course of the week. And, if they need to get Chase at bats, whether it's 5 or 10, he can go to the backfield and take those at bats.
Yeah, whatever the game that's going on, he can go from field to field. There's no rules.
John Mayberry's 0 for 2. Phillies have 5 hits today, but they haven't been able to score a run. They did get Tuffy Go-Switch to third last inning.
Well, he had a leadoff double, was stranded out there.
One ball and 1 strike the count to Mayberry.
They did try to play good situation baseball. Jimmy Rollins pulled the ball in that spot, but it was a BB right at the first baseman for an out. And then Polanco hit it hard to right field. They had to stop him at third. And then the strikeout to Victorino was the key there. And then the fly ball by Jim Thome, they weren't able to get the run.
Simone has thrown every pitch he has at the Phillies today.
If you're a right-handed hitter off this guy, he's not comfortable, because he's looking at all the stuff that's flying at you, and then here comes the ball. That was a changeup, and he probably throws pretty hard too.
Rick Adair is the pitching coach. Looks like he's doing a little charting over there for the Orioles. And now the 1-2 toward third, a foul ball. Josh Bell playing third base. The Orioles, you'll see by the coaches that are in the dugout, aside from Buck Showalter, they're all wearing the old Orioles hat with the white front and the smiling bird. That's their new hat this year. I guess their old hat, but it's a new hat.
The smiling bird.
Yeah, there it is. Jim Presley's wearing it. John Russell's wearing it. Buck Showalter, he's wearing the hat the players are wearing. 2-2 the count to Mayberry.
Buck's been known to do things the way he wants to do them.
Well, they're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
20 years.
Yeah, the park that basically has started the revolution of Major League ballparks that we've seen. That includes Citizens Bank Park.
So true. Once that ballpark opened, everybody wanted one, just like it.
And a lot of teams have gotten their Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Behind the bag, Bell took that half step to his right, and it's another 1-2-3 innings. Phillies go down in order. It's happened a lot today for both teams as we go to the 8th. It's Raul Valdez and the old pitcher Scott Ellerton. What a day for him. Greg Murphy's down there with Scott.
That's right, T-Mac. What a day indeed, Scott. Thanks for stopping by. Scott just said, hey, it's been a while since I've done some interviews, but it's been a while since you've had a pitching performance like that too in the bigs.
Yeah, it has been a while. I enjoyed every minute. I've enjoyed every minute of camp, and the main thing is just keeping it going now.
You know, for those folks that don't know your story, really making a terrific comeback after a couple of years out of the big leagues. And you get a chance with the Phillies. Ruben Amaro comes and sees you over the winter. You get a chance to throw for him, and here you are. And you really couldn't have asked for a much better performance, I wouldn't think.
No, I'd like to have the one pitch back. You know, this game's crazy. I threw one pitch today without conviction, and it got me. It got me early. It was probably good. It was kind of a wake-up call to get things going, but I'll take it. I'll take it pretty much every time out.
What was working for you as we take a look at some of the highlights from today?
You know, honestly, everything worked pretty well except fastball command, arm side. That's kind of what I'm focused on right now, is what I need to work on. And I didn't command the fastball as well as I'd like to on arm side, but otherwise I felt pretty good with most of the pitches I made.
It'll certainly look good, and good to see you back on the mound and pitching so well. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back upstairs.
Yeah, Murph, it's a great story. Again, if you want to take a look at Bob Brookover's story in the Philadelphia Inquirer and Todd Zolecki's story on Phillies.com, really good pieces on what Scott Ellerton's been going through to get back here. Avery up for the third time today against Raul Valdez in his first inning here in the top of the 8th. Avery is 1 for 2. In that story, Scott Ellerton lost 70 pounds. 70 pounds to get himself ready. Wow. Swing and a miss. Avery rung up for the first out. 8th strikeout for Phillies pitching.
The story, of course, is that he had just come to Coors Field last year to see some guys, and then wound up talking to Ruben. And Ruben said, all right, get yourself in shape and throw for somebody, and we'll find out. It turned out Ruben was in the area when he was throwing, and went and saw him himself.
See Raul Valdez's numbers last year, splitting time with 2 different teams. Tollison batting for the first time.
You know, no matter what happens, when he pitched well like he's doing, there's so many scouts here at every game, and the word spreads like wildfire when a guy, you know, looks like maybe they can help somebody now. So Ellerton will be a guy that a lot of other teams will also want to see out there.
Right, and the Phillies can use him maybe as a starting pitcher to start in the minors, or they could even use him out of the bullpen if they change Kyle Kendrick's role as more of a setup guy late in the game. The 0-2 pitch. And a called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Raul Valdez. 2 away.
Well, Eric Cooper's a strike caller today, which is nice because that's one of the reasons why this game is flying, because that's a ball, you know, for most umpires. But you know, he called it a strike, and he's made it pretty obvious today that it's a bat swinging day. The other day we had a guy here, boy,
Mike Estabrook.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
It was a postage stamp out there.
Here's Josh Bell, and he takes low. Bell 2 for 10 this spring. 1 ball, no strikes to count. Top of the 8th inning, 1-0 Orioles. Thanks to a home run back in the 4th by Chris Davis. Joe Blanton went 3. Didn't allow a run. Scott Ellerton went 4. He allowed the 1 run on the 1 hit. Oh, he went. No appeal. Oh, no. Says Phil Cuzzy. Raise your hand up here in the booth if you thought he went. My hand is up.
Yeah, it looked like it did look like he waved that little breaking ball down in it.
He definitely went after that one. It's 3-2. Or I should say 2 balls and 2 strikes. Valdez is certainly getting some work this spring for the Phillies. That one is shortstop. Michael Martinez stays down on it, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for the Phillies pitching staff. It's 4 straight 1-2-3 innings. From Comcast, the official HD triple play provider of the Phillies, and by Chevrolet. See your local Chevy dealer or visit ChevyDealer.com. 1-0 Orioles, bottom of the 8th inning. Wheels, there is Jerry Crawford. We have found him
with the blue hat.
Next to the guy with the orange hat.
And there's a guy with a red hat there. Well, wait a minute. There's a few guys with red hats on in this place. But, yeah, it's great to see Jerry again. And just to see, and you know, by the way, he was motioning down there that he's healthy. He's had a really bad back the last few years. And I think he'd still be umpiring if physically he were able to do it, because he loved the life and he loved to umpire. And, you know, we loved having him in the game because Jerry was one of those guys, when he walked out there, the game was under control, and the players really respected him.
Jerry's watching as the Orioles make some changes. Antoine Richardson is the new center fielder for the O's. as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And Oscar Villarreal is the new pitcher for Baltimore.
Thinking about guys that have been places.
Villarreal last year, 3.02 earned run average. 3rd game of the spring. And Freddie Galvis takes strike 1. It's 0-1. One of the Orioles' top prospects, Manny Machado, was in the on-deck circle as the inning came to a close. I thought they'd bring him in to play one of the infield positions, but maybe he'll pinch hit next inning. It's the new catcher for the Phillies. Tuffy Ghostwich's day is done. First time we got a chance to see LaRue play here at the big field. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Freddie Galvis today is 0 for 2. He has struck out. He's also flied out to left. The only run is a home run by Chris Davis back in the 4th. Thought we'd see a little more offense than that today.
Especially with the way the wind, but the wind has turned around in this game a little bit. Now it's blowing a little more to right.
Fly ball, center field. Richardson over toward the alleyway. And Galvis is retired. 24/7 Phillies fans get more with Phillies insider Jim Salisbury on CSNPhilly.com. Get spring training updates every day with the latest news on any injuries, Cole Hamels' contract, and more. Experience counts. Follow Phillies insider Jim Salisbury on CSNPhilly.com. Jimmy has been here all spring. Stephen LaRue is the batter for the Phillies. 27-year-old. The Phillies signed to a minor league contract in December out of the Orioles organization. And he takes strike 1. Bowie Bay Sox play just outside of D.C. in Baltimore, one of the suburbs, playing in the Eastern League, same league as the Reading Phillies.
They have another team down there in Maryland, right? That plays at Cal Ripken.
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, right.
Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. They have teams everywhere down there in that area. They have Bowie, they have Delmarva, they have Aberdeen, Frederick. Cal Ripken right off 95 in Aberdeen has his ballpark, and he has a hotel. It's not set up exactly like Camden Yards in the warehouse building, but you drive by here looking, that looks like the warehouse. It's a tough sun field down there.
And Dan McDonough does a tremendous job instructing, talking to the ball girls before the game on how to play the positions properly. And we didn't want to make it sound earlier that we were not able to, we wanted to convey that we were not saying that Dan did not do that.
1-2 pitch. Fouled away, and it remains 1-2.
But, it's not like they do that every day down there. So
Dan handles the marketing down here in Clearwater.
Yes, he does. And he does the contests between innings, which are kind of fun.
Swing and a miss, 2 outs. 8 strikeouts today for Orioles pitching. 2 outs here in the 8th.
Not going to lose 1-0 again, huh? Wouldn't have quite the same impact.
No. Well, 2 outs now for Michael Martinez. We reach the top of the order. It'd be Martinez, then Pete Orr. Well, we were stunned the other day when the Phillies beat the Blue Jays 7-0 in Dunedin.
Really?
Yesterday the Phillies won up in Lakeland after they won in walk-off style against the Astros 2 days ago.
Well, when the game started, the wind was blowing a little bit towards left, and now it's blowing more towards to right field.
Yeah, it's kind of a gentle breeze.
Yeah, it's not one of those days where the wind is a big factor, as it is so many times in a spring training game.
ball, no strikes the count.
Vin Scully would say just a gentle zephyr of a breeze.
Chopper to second. Adams is there. He didn't have to move a spot. And the Phillies retired in order here in the 8th. 8 in the books here in Clearwater. Tomorrow night, go behind the mask and see what it's like to be a Major League catcher. CSN analyst and former Major League backstop Ben Davis dons the gear and gets mic'd up for a bullpen session with starter Joe Blanton, who pitched very well today. Don't miss Phillies Focused, presented by Schuylkill Valley Sports, tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. See the line score of today's ball game. That's kind of a surprise in spring training. You know, normally there's more offense because the pitchers, you know, they use so many pitchers, but both teams have thrown very well today. So the fans have not soaked in as much sun because the games move pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the wind has a lot to do with these games down here. A lot of times you get some crazy scores in games because the pop-ups just blow out of the ballpark.
Well, here's Joe Savory. What a ride he had last year. You see those numbers in the bottom? 294, 3 homers, 32 runs batted in. Yeah, he was an offensive player to start the year last year. Then he went back to pitching, was throwing in the low 90s and put up great numbers. 1.50 earned run average at 3 levels. And they'll face Manny Machado, former first-round pick for the Baltimore Orioles in the 2010 draft. Just 19 years old. He was the 3rd overall pick. And he hits a high chopper to Pete Orr. They love this kid, and they think that as he fills out, he's going to be a power-hitting shortstop.
Well, that's a big shortstop. Yeah. Remember, talking about Ripken a little while ago, he was one of the first, I think, of the big shortstops. It always seemed like smaller guys played that position. And then all of a sudden a guy like Ripken came along, and it just changed things.
Well, Jay Hoy's now the hitter. And he takes the first pitch from Savory inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Hey, you think about Larry Boa, Dave Concepcion.
But I mean, physically,
yeah.
You know, not only just short. Now, Robin Yount, you know, he was another guy that. But for years, you know, you just looked at that position, and it was manned by a guy who wasn't physically real big, and normally hit 8th in a lineup, and wasn't a run producer.
Right, they weren't the Alex Rodriguez.
Right, and then it just changed.
You know the count.
Probably the greatest hitting one of the greatest hitting shortstops up was Ernie Banks, and then he became a first baseman later in his career.
I don't think he would be considered big. Maybe at the time he was.
Yeah, Ernie wasn't real tall, thin, but Ernie was a guy who just had tremendous bat speed, wrist. He hit a lot of line drive homers at Wrigley.
Swing and a miss, 3-2. Last year, during the first month of the year, Clearwater, the Threshers, while Savory was playing first base, they were involved in a long game, one of the longest in minor league history. And they needed a position player to pitch. Well, he came in and he started chucking at 92, 93, 94 miles an hour, and his arm felt good. So they decided to give it another try because he was a pitcher out of college. At least that's what the Phillies made him. But he also could hit. 3-2 pitch. It's tough to teach 90-something. Martinez, nice play, and he does get hosed. 2 away.
Well, he probably threw so hard that night because he was rested.
Well, he said his arm felt really good. It's kind of like what Scott Ellerton said. He was throwing BP. His arm felt good.
He said, Tom, that's a nice play by Michael Martinez. It's one of those do or die. And on grass, you know, you never know how high the hop's going to come. And in that case, it came up pretty nicely for him. Just saw Mike Bookholder, Phillies ground crew guy, head of the ground crew, you know, during the middle innings. And boy, he was really excited about the way the new turf has taken root at home. They got lucky with the weather, obviously, and to put this new Bermuda grass down that'll take the strain of weather a little bit better. And he showed me a picture of the field. It's amazing. It looks like the middle of summer.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. To
let's face it, after that Winter Classic, you know, they had to replace the turf, and you're in the middle of winter in the Northeast. You don't know. And it's really turned out well.
I was there a couple weeks ago, and it did look really nice.
Yeah, he said you reach down and pull the grass up. It's even tough to get it out. The roots are so deep already.
Over to third, another play for Pete Orr. Joe Savory picks up right where the rest of the Phillies pitchers have left off. It's a 1-2-3 inning. He runs as fast as anybody, and he's running even quicker because he's due up second. Tonight's Flyers Maple Leafs game. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Sports Night. That's tonight at 6 and 10 on Comcast Sportsnet. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies down 1-0. Surprising here in spring training. The new pitcher for the Orioles is Miguel Sokolovic. Sokolovic.
Nice.
Yeah. Last year in the minor leagues, he had a 3.44 earned run average. This is his 3rd game this spring. Orioles played a tie. They played a night game last night. And today they have a 1-0 lead thanks to a home run by Chris Davis. And that's been it. That's been all the scoring. Both starters were good. Joe Blanton for the Phillies and Brian Mattis for the Orioles. Sokolovic is a 25-year-old from Venezuela who last year pitched in the minor leagues in the White Sox organization. He had 1 save. So Sokolovic will try to face the Phillies here in the bottom of the 9th with the hopes of ending this game. Meanwhile, the Phils are looking for some last at bat magic.
Eric Cooper, he's trying to explain to the pitcher that there's something
I think on his
that
wrist
he didn't like, and he had to finally take it off.
Yeah, I think there was something on his wrist that he had to take off, whether it be a bracelet or one of those energy bars that guys wear.
And Miguel just couldn't understand. You could tell he couldn't understand what he wanted him to do.
Pedor up for the first time today. Pinch ran back in the 6th. And he swings at the first pitch and lifts it to shallow center field. And Richardson puts it away for the first out. So one gone, and we mentioned that Tyson Gillies, and we showed Tyson Gillies going into the break how fast he moves in and out from center field. Well, he'll get a chance to bat here in the bottom of the 9th inning. He'll be followed by Lance Nix, who looks like he's going to come out and pitch hit.
Well, you like to get him on because you get Gillies on, it's like a double.
Yeah, and I have to admit, as a fan, you want him to get on because you just enjoy watching him run the bases. And there have been guys like that in the big leagues that you just enjoy watching them run. And Gillies is one of those guys. And he takes ball 1. It's 1-0. Gillies now 23 years old. Makes his home in Vancouver, British Columbia. Played in just 3 games last year. He was battling one leg issue after another. High chopper, and it's handled by Mahoney. A couple more inches that might have gone over his head. And we have 2 outs here in the 9th, and it's left to Lance Nix. He's the last hope for the Phils. Charlie Manuel's team came from behind yesterday to beat the Tigers, and you know they're going to have to come from behind with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Lance Nix already 14 at-bats this spring. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Well, this game has been about pitching. That's it for both teams. A lot of strikeouts. There have been 8 for the Orioles pitchers this afternoon. And 9 for the Phillies pitchers. The 0-2 pitch to Nix. And on the ground toward first. Off the glove of Mahoney and into right field. So the Phillies have the tying run aboard. And just like the other day, Luis Martinez will have a chance to give the Phillies a victory if he can put together a long ball.
See how they score this. That ball is really smoked. And, you know, it's a play you think, well, he probably should make it, but it's hit so hard that, okay, good. They gave him a hit on it. They'll do that a lot of times in spring training.
So Nix will exit. Scott Pasednik will pinch run. And here comes Martinez. His solo home run against Michael Doobie a couple of days ago gave the Phils a 10th inning victory over the Pirates. 5 for 9 this spring.
Sednick can steal a bag.
Yes, he can. He's leaning. He doesn't go, and the pitch is up high. 1-0.
That is really choking up right now, trying to put the ball in play. I don't see many guys nowadays with some of the handles showing like this. Look at that. That's a lot.
Martinez was with the Orioles organization at one point. In fact, he made it to the big leagues for the first time with Baltimore back in 2008. Was there in 2009, 2010, and then eventually went over to the Cubs, where he made it to the majors last year and played in 36 games. And the throw over, and Pasednik froze a little bit.
Quick feet on that move. Took a high fastball the other day from Doobie.
sounds funny to say, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Took a high fastball the other day from Doobie and hit it into the just in front of the bullpen on the bullpen stairs.
That ball right now, if he hits it today with a wind, won't even get to the warning track.
There goes Pasednik. Pitches high. The throw to second is not in time. The tying runs in scoring position.
A good job by Montañez too to take a pitch there. Now, even though it was a ball, but he can see him. He can when you're a right-handed hitter, you know the guy's going. You can hear they yell, he's going, and you see it too. So he takes the pitch. No sense in swinging there. Try to get him into scoring position. Good fadeaway head first slide there by Pasednik to the back of the bag, and the infielder took the throw way up front. Can't get there to make the tag.
So 3-0 the count. Is Charlie giving the green light here, you think? Or is he going to leave it to Hector Luna? Gives him the green light.
There's your answer. You got me on strategy in these games.
Come on, Wills. I'm trying to get you into midseason form.
Well, we'll get there. With Charlie, yeah, he wants to try and get the run there.
Well, there is the tying run, the potential tying run.
One of the things that Pasednik can add, if he's on your bench, is what he showed right there. They can steal him back.
3 balls, 1 strike to count.
Dropped a little 3-1 hook on him there. That really surprised Montañez.
There's Hector Luna looming on deck. Swing and a miss. He got him. On a day when the pitchers had the hitters' numbers, the relief pitcher for the Orioles comes back to get a strikeout to finish this ball game up. A rare 1-0 spring training victory. As Charlie Manuel's team had won 2 in a row, they lose today by a final score of 1-0. Good news is, though, Wheels, Phillies starter Joe Blanton, Scott Ellerton, everybody else, they really pitched very well.
Yeah, they did have a runner at third base and weren't able to get him home. Or, might be tied right now going into extra innings. But, yeah, it was a well-pitched game. Wind blowing a little bit out early and then in. Here's our W.B. Mason delivery of the game. Tom mentioned Joe Blanton was really good here today. He used all his pitches, little cutters. He used his changeup very well, threw some curveballs. Got out of a little bit of trouble in the first couple innings. And once again, a good outing by Joe Blanton as the Baltimore Orioles win this game by a score of 1-0. That's our WB Mason delivery of the game.
So the Phillies are back to 500. They're 4-4 now this spring as they drop a 1-0 decision to the Orioles. We'll be back after this.